All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So we're going to be talking about the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro and the impact they're making on the current status of the smartphone world. So, you know the history here. These devices have been out for roughly 2 months. And I just want to start by saying respect to everybody who has this Pixel 6 Pro. But I often have conversations in my Telegram group about, and just publicly, like I'm getting ready to do now, smartphoneconversations.com, check that's a plug. So I often ask people, what do you consider a long-term review? Now, there's no right or wrong way to cover a device. I think we all know by now how the people you watch cover devices. And it's all their perspective on and their perception of how something is to be covered. Now, personally, I feel like I can't call something a long-term review in just 2 months. I don't think that's a long time at all. I think that's just getting started. And the point I'm making is these devices are still getting updates. Here's the latest update right here. This is in the Play Store. So if you haven't updated your device yet, be sure to hit the Play Store and just type in camera if it doesn't show on your list. And you can scroll down to the Google camera, or you can just type Google camera directly, and you will see that there's an update. Now, this device got 2 camera updates. I got one on the 3rd of December and then another one on the 7th of December. So it's pretty strange that some people haven't gotten this yet. I think they were thinking the change log from Google from the major update that they're going to push out is what this is about, but that is not what this is about. This is just a camera update in the Play Store for the application itself, and this is what it's going to change. I don't recall the one from the 3rd, what that one changed, but I do know that I got 2. So if you got 2 as well, on both of your devices, if you have both or either one that you have, I got December 3rd and then another one on December 7th. So that's something that you should probably check out if you haven't already done so. The update on the camera in the Play Store, that is not the same thing as the update coming from Google. So in terms of reviewing a device, these devices right here are getting all the coverage. Any company, whether it's good or bad, I guess I would say, Google is the talk of the town right now because they released devices that just pretty much undercut everyone. There's no denying these devices have grabbed your attention. Whether your only response is to say, I had it for a week, I returned it because of this. Your choice. But several things I want to talk about today, reviewing the devices. Some people are already saying they're on their long-term review. And I'm thinking, there's no way you're on a long-term review because the device hasn't been out that long. But that's, again, perspective. That's how you perceive things. I think sometimes with creators, it's just about getting that catchy title. And it's just still an overview. At this point, I personally am in overview phase. Because so many things are changing with the device. And that's not to say that other creators, again, are doing things wrong. You are covering the device, and you, the followers, are watching us cover the device. And so when we get down to the meat and potatoes, the gravy on top, to me, we're just getting started because this device has another update coming. Mid-December, which is almost now, and then to the end of December, we should see a nice update on the software as a whole. But those camera updates and those subtle things that Google are doing, it's good. This is what we need to see the progression of this device come forward and be what we want it to be. Now, a lot of consumers out there, I haven't heard consumers say anything really bad about this device other than they hated the Fingerprint Reader, so they sent it back, or my battery was bad, so they sent it back. They didn't have the patience to wait. I purchased this one, and Google sent me this one. And either or, things like battery life, that solely depends on the person using the device. And I hate to be so blunt about it, but if you use Facebook and you have the application installed or you have Facebook Messenger installed, they're killing your battery. Some of you guys, I want you to name some of the applications in the comments of this section that kill battery for Android. This is how it is for Android, folks. Get used. You should be used to this by now. The way Android is optimized, some applications are resource hogs, and they're gonna just drain the battery a lot. Another thing that contributes to battery, this is old conversation, is the signal strength. If you have a weak signal strength, you're going to drain more battery faster. This is just a fact. It's just what it is. Has nothing to do with the processing power, the RAM, all that stuff. If you have a really weak cell phone signal, your service is weak, your phone's going to work harder to try to make sure it's getting the best signal for you. That's what's going to happen. And you're going to end up having poor battery life. So the number of applications you have on your device, your cell phone provider, your signal strength, those are some of the main contributors to poor battery life. So at the beginning when this device launched, a lot of people talked about the fingerprint reader. Fingerprint reader's trash. Google should have done this. Google should have done that. And then what you end up having is some people having a fantastic run with their fingerprint reader and some people not. Now, I talked about this in another video. This is what I see creators doing. Oh, fingerprint reader's horrible. Fingerprint reader's horrible. They're slamming it down like that, and then you'll see Google saying, hold your finger a little bit longer. We want it to be accurate, not fast or super fast. It doesn't have to be. But see, we get to these standards, and some people still are saying I'm dismissing that, and that I'm not being sensitive to everyone's needs on their fingerprint reader. Okay, let me go ahead and be sensitive to your needs since you need to have your hand held in this situation. The reality is, and I've said this 100 times, these are not the fastest fingerprint readers. Google never claimed to have the fastest fingerprint readers, and Google is not paying me for making these videos. Okay? Out of the way once again. Just because Google sent you that phone, you have to praise it. Absolutely not. I think I'm extremely critical of devices when I get them in, but we all experience devices a different way. Now, the fingerprint reader on here definitely doesn't unlock the fastest. Some people, Google should have went with ultrasonic. I'm covering this topic continuously because this is still a conversation. Even after the last update, some people said, hey, you know, the fingerprint reader is still trash. I sent it back. Personally, I think that's a lame reason to say you're getting rid of a phone. And especially when it comes to battery, too. I think people just don't have the patience and not willing to try to figure out what you're doing to the device to make the device battery bad. 5,000 milliamps and 4,600. You know, again, couple that with poor cell phone service, and you're going to get poor battery. This is just a thing. And also, you need to take a look at what applications you have. Some people still think that some creators are making excuses. I've been told I'm making excuses for Google. I don't think I'm making excuses for Google at all. I think if you're the one spending your money on something, it's not working hard to try to figure out how to get the best out of your device. That's just common sense to me. If I bought the device, I need to make sure I'm using it to the best of my ability, and I need to learn how to use my own device. There's no class on how to use a cell phone. There's no guarantees that you're going to get great battery life. Optimization is key. This is stock Android. Stock Android, and some people are still saying that, oh, you know, Google should have done this. Google should have done that. Google should have done this. It's just what it is, man. Again, battery life is a lame discussion to have. Screen on time is a lame discussion to have at a certain point. How could the majority of people out there be getting fantastic battery on the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 6? Some even say they get better battery life on the 6. How is that? Well, they have certain applications installed. They have better cell phone service than you do. Something. And if those people return the device for a bad fingerprint reader, or they felt the fingerprint reader was bad, listen, the truth is, I respect your decision. I don't have to care about it. I mean, if I think it's lame it has to really be bad, horrible. This has to be horrible for me to say, this is the reason I'm returning it. Okay? Do you want accuracy or speed? Unlocking your fingerprint reader like this, that's not doing anything. That's how you unlock this fingerprint reader. This guy's acting like it's something new. This isn't the first phone to have a slow read on the fingerprint reader. But see, I think what a lot of people are forgetting is this. They think that because it's Google, it's going to magically be a certain way. Look at the track record of Google's smartphones. Some people complain about the design of the phone, the screen of the phone, the this, the that. To me, the direction that Google's going in with these devices, first of all, they started with some of the lowest pricing you could possibly get on a flagship device. Now, some people still in their feelings saying that the 6 is not a flagship. How you're determining this, I don't know, because I think it's much of a double standard for that. Because First, you said that the 700 series was lame and it wasn't a flagship device. But a definition of a flagship device to me, and it's just, this is my perception on it, whatever the most powerful device is from a company, regardless of what's inside, that's their flagship device. Now, the tech world has double standards. If you have a 700 series, you're not a flagship. Now, Google has a Tensor chip inside it, because a lot of you guys base these flagship terminologies on what's inside. So they have Tensor chips in both of these devices. 8 gigs of RAM, flagship. 12 gigs of RAM, flagship. Okay, you can't say that this is not a flagship just because you think it has a 1080p display and, you know, it doesn't. I mean, you can. I'll retract that. You can say that, but my perspective is this is a flagship. This is a smaller variant of this version right here. Simple as that. I've said this 100 times. I don't feel any different. And I don't really care about the people who say, oh, you're wrong. It's not a flagship. Okay, great. Whatever. That's fine. That's how you feel. Whatever. This is a flagship from Google. It's just a smaller version of this version here. Simple as that. The cameras. The camera updates that come from this from Google, they've addressed stabilization. They're addressing it here. The zoom capabilities. I've got a video up with the 6 Pro testing out the camera function and features from the last update, and I feel like they have greatly improved on what they've done. The cameras were already good. Now they're becoming like great. Stabilization off the charts. So Barry Johnson just released his video. At the recording of this video, Barry Johnson just released his latest update on the camera stabilization in comparison to another device. Check that out if you haven't already done so. And he too is in agreement that these Pixel cameras have fantastic stabilization. There's just no denying it. If someone has a Pixel 6 and they're claiming not to have good stabilization, even before the update, if you had a Pixel 6 when it first launched, there's really no arguing that the stabilization was good on here. It's fantastic. These phones are now becoming such a thing that the industry is circling around it. I mean, if you're an Android fanatic, you cannot talk about Android without mentioning these two devices. Google came in with very low pricing. Even on this device that sits over here, this is the 5A 5G. Updates have come in. This device has become great. And it's still tons of value. Some people want the new and they want the Tensor chip, so they're going to tell you to grab the 6 at least. And they're going to not recommend the 5A because of what's inside. I've heard people say this, and I've seen people say this. I disagree with that. I think that you should grab what's available to you from Google. And if $399 is available to you with this device, I highly recommend it. $450, still a great device. I know this is $150 more, and you're getting the Tensor chip, some better cameras, but you're still getting fantastic cameras on the Pixel 5A 5G. You're actually getting a little bit better battery, and you're getting a headphone jack. And the hardware, well, speaks for itself. You got a fingerprint reader on the back, really consistent, extremely consistent. You're going to press it, and it's going to unlock for you. It's just that simple. That's just what it is. So the truth for me about the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro is I think people really love these devices. They just can't pull themselves to admit it. That's just what it is. I've seen titles and little catchy titles on people's videos, good, bad, to ugly. Sometimes, folks, you have to face it. I have had devices that just don't have a bad or ugly. That just doesn't exist. The Huawei Mate 20X does not have a good, bad, and ugly. And that's just one device that pops on top of my head of those slogans, the good, the bad, the ugly. Some phones just don't have anything bad about them, in my opinion. But I think some creators feel like you have to dislike something about a device, and I disagree with that. You know, I don't really have any dislikes, really bad dislikes. I can't apply good, bad, ugly to the device I'm recording with, the iPhone 13 Pro Max. I cannot apply that to that device. Good, bad, ugly. There's no bad and ugly on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. There's no bad and ugly on the 6 and 6 Pro. I just don't see it. But again, for the creators that do see that, hey, respect. But after doing YouTube long enough and checking out how people create and how they do things, I disagree with a lot of things that other creators say, because I think they're trying to ruffle the feather to get the attention. I want to remain relevant, I would say. And, take that how you want to take it. I don't care. But I just think that when it comes to creating, are you really creating by doing a final review in 2 months? And I'm talking about these devices specifically because we're coming up on 2 months roughly, or we may be close, really close, or around there. Because remember, consumers are just now getting their devices. Look online, you'll see people saying, "Oh, finally got it." Yeah, this released in October, and we're in the middle of December. How could we be at a full 2-month review already? Impossible. Now, again, though, what is a review? You determine what that is from your own definition. You're the watcher. I'm one of the millions of creators out there. I respect all other creators, even if I disagree. And I've had people tell me that, "Jay, I respect you," or whatever, and sometimes we just have to agree to disagree. That is good conversation. But I don't foresee a final review on the Pixel 6 or 6 Pro yet. It's impossible. We haven't even gotten that big December update yet. Let's continue. I'm going to continue. Forget, all that other. I'm going to continue to bring you as many updates as I can, weekly or every 2 weeks or every month. If that's what you want me to do, I'm going to do it anyway. But I just feel like that is the actual review. I could be way off, but I think a long-term review is like a 6 months to a year. I could be crazy though, but I think 6 months to a year is the actual long-term review. Forget all that other stuff. That's just still an overview. And it's just a follow-up, I say. Overview, first 30 days. Anything after that is pretty much a follow-up, which is why I keep doing these for you, because something can go wrong. Now, I just told you that I don't have a good, bad, or ugly with these. Right now, I just don't. At the beginning, it did get kind of, it was kind of shaky, but it still wasn't good, bad, ugly. Even with the roughness of the apps crashing, certain apps crashing, that's Android 12. That's not the Pixel. That was Android 12 at the beginning, but Google took care of that fairly fast from what I can tell. Just like Apple takes care of some of these things pretty quickly. We should be happy that, they're coming in and pushing these updates for us. That's what we want, right? Because gone are the days where people are saying, spend $1,000 on this and it's trash. Well, you can't say that about the Pixel devices. You have an option to get it for $599 or $899. And honestly, folks, coming in at these prices, there is absolutely no reason why a person could technically complain about these two devices for value to consumer. I just don't see it happening. I don't foresee people saying that these are poor value, but it's all going to come down to what a person perceives as value. Yes, you can buy a bunch of devices that cost a lot less, but we're talking to those people who are interested in these two particular devices. Period. You're interested in these and you want to know how other people feel about them before you buy. I get that a lot. People just want to talk about them. They want me to talk about them. So when you start checking boxes, folks, I'm not having any issues with heating. I'm not having any issues with the cameras. There's no more app crashing. So then what is it then? It's just a bunch of follow-ups on the phones to tell you my experience. And right now, directly, if you ask me, should I buy this? I'm going to tell you, I will recommend this or I will recommend that. What is your budget? This is what I recommend. Now, of all the Android devices that are out there, because there are a lot of them out there, you're going to have to make that final choice. But if you are interested in the Pixel 6 or the Pixel 6 devices, these two are, choose one. Choose one. You want sort of a smaller display and pretty much you're going to get some really good battery, go ahead and go with the 6. You want a flat display, go with the 6. You don't care so much about Quad HD, go with the 6. You don't need a telephoto, go with the 6. You want some different colors? Go with the 6. It's just that simple, man. Go with the 6. If you're just indifferent about it, $300 difference, folks. Let's be honest. There is really, to me, not a $300 difference here. There is to the person who feels like they need those things. But if you just don't need them, yeah, no, there's no $300 difference here. Both of these are phenomenal devices. They are. Now, again, that good, bad, ugly, that's all opinion. This entire video is opinion. It truly is. And it's a discussion. So let's discuss. Hit me up in the comments, man. I want to know what you got to say. If you have one of these devices or you have both, tell me how you really feel about them. Don't just tell me, oh, it's trash because this, and I returned it. There's so many people that bought one of these devices and kept it for about 2 or 3 days or a week and got rid of it. Or they kept it for within that return period and they were really hung up, because I think a lot of you guys are influenced. You don't know that you're being influenced, but you're being influenced because it just takes for a few people to say something on a device and you start to believe it and you find it as truth. Like those people that keep telling me, you're just missing the fingerprint reader, Jay. No, I'm not. It's a slower fingerprint reader, period. That remains to be seen. It does not unlock very fast. Okay, it doesn't unlock very fast, but that's fast enough, man. How much more do you need? How am I dismissing the fingerprint reader? Please acknowledge this. Well, no, let's not go there. Some of you guys have already done that. You know what I mean? You keep telling me in the comments, you're downplaying this because Google sent you a phone. Okay, I'm unlocking the phones right in front of your face. Okay, I'm unlocking them. So how is it? And one time this guy was like, oh, it took you 3 tries to unlock the Pixel 6 Pro. And I'm thinking, so what? Okay, it took 3 tries. I got in there though. What's the difference? The conversation about the Pixel 6 devices is comical at best sometimes, because I think people are really reaching just to find something wrong. So I want to know from you before I get out of here, what do you think is an actual long-term review? 3 months, 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, a year? Which is it? And do you actually believe some of the videos that are coming out saying that they're done with their final review on the phone? Holla at me.